Yo, so now we're gonna be talking about today's price action, which is what is it? Wednesday the 17th. All right, so Pete. So initially, I was starting out with a bullish bias, looking at these highs. There's that 8 o'clock candle, but then obviously, if Dow goes up and hits this high, then that means we're bearish, right? Which it did that. Here, let me show you. So what pretty much happened was Dow ran higher. Here's 930, right? Down ran higher, failed, took this high out right here, which breached the weekly cycle to go higher and sent us lower. Then we saw the daily, and then we just needed confirmations to enter a short. Uh, we had right here a micro setup. Let me find that right now. Here's that micro setup that we had, with the perfect entry being 955, or well, I guess 954 if you could enter up there, which would be pretty difficult. But it lines up perfectly with True Day. And then we just sell off. Now, I today's FOMC, and I know how FOMC is. FOMC can be very difficult, and usually just delivers like this. It's not like one straight line. It just usually choppy and one direction delivery. So with yesterday's idea in mind, as we remember, I said fair value gaps is what I'm entering off of, and pretty much this is what happened. So by 9:56, I was sure, 100% sure we're bearish. Then I saw gaps like this in the version of fair value gaps get inversed. And at this point, I was super bearish because I saw over two gaps be inversed, and I was just bearish, and I was waiting for us to see some bearish price action and some movement. So I kept this gap marked off because we had consolidation, and I wanted us to break out of it prior to running lower. So I had that gap marked off, and then once we made that high, then we created this gap right here. And this gap right here was the first gap after we made the swing point, and here is 1015, right? So 1015, and that's the first gap after the swing right there. And then guess where I enter? I waited all the way until we're back in the gap, and I didn't care what happens. I knew we're going to come back in there. Top 50%. It kind of jerked away before I was able to enter, but I entered there, stop loss here, and got my delivery to the low. Yes, I know it went lower, 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 but it's FOMC AM session, and I'm not playing games with my life. Hell no. I'm going to take my shot, and I'm going to leave. So I'm going to show you guys that trade right now. Right here. As you guys can see, there's the full setup. 954 right there, which shouldn't come back to for sure. Then we had us break out of this range. 1015 created a strong high, tapped into the inversion of fair value gap, respected this one, created the high, then created a fair value gap, went down into this discount wick, ran back into a premium. I entered in this gap, and then it ran lower, and I took TP right before the low on this candle. Bam, slammed the fuck out of it. And this is how I'm supposed to be trading from now on, because this trade right here, even if I entered here, right, even if I entered there and did this, and like next time I would hold it, because like I'm in pretty deep drawdown, so I want to get out of that. So once I get out of it, then I'll start holding my trades a bit longer. But look, literally, if I held my trade to here, 3RR, 3RR with a wide ass stop, you see, like this is 3RR. If my entry S3R if my entry was down here. Now look, Pete, if I entered right there, that literally takes us from 3 to 6, from one candle difference. That's why every single candle has so much importance. Just entering a little bit earlier, one candle earlier, makes your stop 2 times shorter. That's why entering in a premium is so important. And my idea was pretty much this. You see, I entered in a premium, top 0.75 of this range. So I'm very proud of this. So anyway, we're going to see how tomorrow goes. Same thing. Same thing. 4 hour down to the 1 minute, For analysis, well, 4 hour down to the 5 minute for analysis, and then on the 1 minute I do fair value gap analysis. I wait for a swing point, a major swing point to be formed, then a minor swing back into the gap. I take the minor swing trade, and I'm slamming that shit every fucking time, dude. Every single time I'm gonna be getting it, as long as my mind is right and I see the price and I'm very sure with bias. Most important thing is to have a bulletproof bias, because if your bias changes, your trade is out the door. So now I'm going to show you guys real quick my trading journal. So it's been a bumpy last 2 weeks that I've been practicing a lot and trying out a little bit different stuff here and there. But look, the Y is a correct bias on the day. I had the correct bias every single day for the last 2 weeks except for one day. My bias right now is around 85% accurate. And then over here, I pretty much describe every trade I took, and I talk about like, okay, what should I have done better and all that. So we're locked, bro. We are locked in. We're gonna keep getting payouts, and we're gonna live off this shit. So adios, peace.